And let's bring in Congressman Tom Price, who is the chairman of the House Republican Policy Committee and serves on the Budget and Ways and Means Committee. So you're at the crux of all of the decision makers up there. What can Republicans, and actually Republicans and Democrats, do to try to do something about this, the jobless factor, the continuing unemployment?
Thanks so much, Andrea. I appreciate the opportunity to join you today. Look, the whole issue is the federal government going to provide certainty in the market, or is it going to say, look, the government knows best? One of the huge challenges we have right now is that businesses across this country don't know what the playing field's going to look like. They don't know if this health care bill is going to be put into law and come to its final conclusion, which would increase their costs, decrease job creation. They don't know what the rules of the game are going to be with American energy. They don't know if American energy is going to be able to be allowed to explore offshore, onshore, use natural gas, the kind of things that we ought to be doing to be creating jobs here. And they don't know what the government's going to do about the debt. We spend too much money here in Washington. Everybody knows that. The president hasn't put in place a plan that will allow for decreasing that debt and decreasing the deficit so that the private sector can thrive. The answer to this is not government. The answer to this is the private sector.
Now, we keep being told, Congressman, that the Biden group, the negotiations have been going well, that progress has been made, and that they think they can report something to the rest of you by the end of June for congressional action sometime in July. Is that credible? Is that likely to happen?
Well, we sure hope so. But again, the issue in terms of jobs isn't what the government can do to create jobs. The government doesn't create jobs. It's the private sector that creates jobs. And that seems to be this missing link. I hope that on this trip that the president takes, that he'll discuss with Governor Scott in Florida and with Governor Fortunio in Puerto Rico. Both of those governors have decreased the size of their government, have decreased spending at the state level, and they're beginning to see significant increases in the productivity of their state and the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. So those are the kind of lessons that Washington ought to be able to learn from these laboratories of the states who have to balance a budget, can't print money that they don't have. That's what Washington needs to do. Stop spending money that it doesn't have, and jobs will flourish.
Well, the flip side of what you said, though, about uncertainty in the business sector is also that they want to know that government is going to come together and make some kind of deal. When we began to see the recovery bumping up, it was actually after the tax deal that was negotiated in December. So if the Biden group, if something can be done on a debt ceiling resolution and a longer-term prognosis for deficit reduction, isn't that going to provide some momentum, some lift to the sales?
Yes, absolutely. But what we can't do, again, is have the continued $1.4, $1.6 trillion deficits that the president seems to be wedded to. That's what his budget put in place, was trillion-dollar-plus deficits almost as far as the eye could see. That's not the kind of message that we need to be sending to the private sector. We put in place a budget, the Republican conference in the House of Representatives, that would increase job creation, would reform the entitlement spending here in Washington that's only been demagogued by the other side, and would allow for the kind of energy production, domestic energy production, that will flourish and allow jobs to be created all across this great land. Those are the kind of things that the American people want to see, and if we put those programs in place, I'm certain that we will see the kind of job creation that we haven't seen with the proposals and programs of this administration.
Congressman Tom Price from the Republican Policy Committee, thank you very much, sir.